Inner Realms, Outer Journeys, Karen Bonofiglio. And look who we have back again. Jennifer Rose. We love Jennifer. You know that. This topic is fantastic because it's something we all go through. But let me tell you about Jennifer first, and then she's going to tell you what we're going to talk about today. Jennifer Rose is an international spiritual evidential medium, trance healer and channel, mentor, public speaker, transformation guide, writer, poet, and humanitarian. In addition to her one on one work with clients, she demonstrates mediumship for small groups and large audiences, spiritualist churches, and for charitable causes, spreading the awareness that love and life are eternal. She's known for her accuracy, love, and compassion when connecting with spirit. You probably know all that because you've experienced her so much and seen her on her channels. She is the host of Embracing Infinity on the Sacred Spiral Network, an exploration of love, higher consciousness, and living life to its highest potential. With a passion for writing and creative expression, Jennifer is a regular contributor to Edify Your Soul magazine. She has also been featured in the LA Times and been a guest on numerous podcasts. That magazine, Edify Your Soul, is that strictly in California or is that nationwide?
And thank you, Karen, for having me back again. Um, Edifier, so it's an online magazine, so anybody can access it, and it's free too. So Laura McCoe Smith is the creator and editor of it, and it's doing really, really well. She started it, I think, early this year or late last year, I can't remember, and it's doing really well. So anyone can access it international.
Edify Your Soul, guys. Check
Hmm.
that magazine
Yeah,
out.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so what are we talking about today?
We're talking about Dark Night of the Soul. So dramatic.
We have those.
We do. Dark Night of the Soul is not uncommon in the spiritual community. Probably most or many of your listeners have heard of it. If not, this may be a first, but if anybody's looking for it too, they may find you and then get a few answers there, which would be a really good thing to be able to help somebody with that here today.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
definitely. Hmm. Do you want me to ask you questions or you just want
I was waiting for you to take the lead.
I will take the lead. Here it is. How do you define Dark Night of the Soul in your own words?
Okay, my beautiful. Okay, so Dark Night of the Soul is part of our spiritual awakening process. Many people go through it and may not even know it, but it is a spiritual depression that many souls will go through. And it's unique compared to maybe a more clinical depression. So there are some differences to it as
Uh,
well. So it has some unique qualities to it. And if you've been triggered into a spiritual awakening, you probably will go through or have gone through the dark night of the soul. And the term was probably coined back in the 1500s with Saint John of the Cross. And he was a monk who was imprisoned for his beliefs and spent time in confinement. And a lot of times, confinement will trigger a dark night of the soul because of the isolation and the loneliness that is being experienced too. And so he wrote some, lengthy poetry about his experience with dark night of the soul. Very common with monks, priests, nuns, mystics, anybody who's kind of on the spiritual path to higher consciousness or has had a spiritual awakening from a lot of life events, or just because
oh,
your soul decided that that was a good thing for you to go through in this lifetime.
I
So,
think my soul decided on that and I didn't agree.
not your personality, but the rest of you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
what makes dark night of the soul different from a clinical depression, and I will put a disclaimer, I'm not a psychologist or a licensed therapist, so I'm giving you my experience, and my opinion, and my knowledge of what I've learned in this area. But when somebody is in a dark night of the soul, there are some specific things that they will go through, but it can stop and start. You can remain pretty functional in your life and still be in dark night of the soul. So you may have to go to work that day, and then you're going to be functional and be fine until you get home, and then all of a sudden you need to go isolate, and the spiritual depression comes over you
Oh,
again, and you need to spend some time working through it and just being in it. And versus a clinical depression can just be like ongoing, like you can't go to work, you can't get out of bed, you can't make it stop. And so that's one of the differences there too. There is enough overlap. Some people may want to search on YouTube for a documentary called Crazy Wise, CrazyWise. It speaks about people who have been treated medically for what probably was a spiritual awakening or a dark night of the soul, an integration process that was happening within them, but because they didn't know what was happening to them or their family members were concerned about them, they ended up getting treated with medication and things like that. And that's not always the right answer for everybody. Vice versa, some people maybe think they're in a more spiritual awakening, but maybe going to the psychological route or being on medication is appropriate for them too. So it
mhm.
is important to learn about yourself and make good decisions for yourself. Not deny yourself treatment if you need it, and sometimes it may be a combination of both, and you need some treatment, and you also need to understand that you're going through something very spiritual. There's an overlap there too. But that would be a really good documentary for some people to watch, because there have been people who have gone through a Kundalini awakening, a dark night of the soul, they're in spiritual awakening, and they've had some, very negative experiences from not understanding what was happening to them, and then being treated inappropriately um, through
Wouldn't
with a, yeah,
wouldn't that really mess them up if
it
they?
does. Yeah.
Okay,
It does. Yeah.
yeah.
Some people can get hospitalized, all kinds of things, when what they're going through is very spiritual versus clinical. So that
Oh
can
my
happen. But I also am an advocate for getting treated for mental health issues if
yeah.
that's needed for you too. Some people may need medication, or they may need um, medical treatment as well too. So it's important to just kind of get to know yourself and really do your research and
Mhm.
understand you. And sometimes a comprehensive approach is good as well.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
you know I just want to digress for a minute. I have
Yeah.
a friend who works at the psych ward, and she tells me about some of the patients in there. And I go, "How do they end up there?" She goes, "Your doctor just has to write a note, and you are in there, and you
Yeah.
can't get out until your doctor writes a note releasing you." And I
It's
thought, "That's
scary.
scary."
It's
Yeah.
very, yeah, it's very scary. I've met some mothers, over the time, and they have enough knowledge to understand that their child or their teenager is probably going through a spiritual awakening, and they have to warn them, be careful what you say. Be careful what you tell people, because this is, you
Be
know,
sensitive.
because if you start saying, what you're hearing in your head and what's going on in your mind, um, someone may think the wrong thing, and then you're in something you can't get out of. So, yeah.
That's really scary.
Yeah, it's helpful if you could get treatment from, say, somebody who has an understanding. There are psychologists out there, and they don't treat with medication, but they understand spiritual awakenings too. So they would be called like a spiritual psychologist or a transpersonal psychologist. They have a degree, and they may be a good resource as well too.
Right.
And so, but I'm very mind, body, spirit, so I'm very much take care of like all the parts of you, and the healthier and the happier you're going to be in life
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
Oh, God.
yeah. So, But let's talk about some of the like the triggers, shall we?
Yeah.
Or not the triggers, but the symptoms. Sorry, I want to say the symptoms too.
Yeah.
So we've talked about spiritual awakening in another episode, so viewers can go back and watch that again if they want to. And so a dark night of the soul is usually part of a spiritual awakening. So it can be, something in the earlier stages, but it also can happen if you're in like a Kundalini awakening, which is more what I would call an advanced stage of spiritual development and awakening that people might go through too. But when you're in the dark night of the soul, there's going to be a lot of very disconnected feelings, very deep loneliness and feelings of isolation. You may feel like you're easily triggered. There's a big identity crisis going because there's probably mental structures and belief systems that are dissolving away, and you feel like you're dying because you're identified with them as part of your personality. And when those parts are starting to either integrate back into you because they've been suppressed or repressed and they're trying to like come back, that metamorphosis process of like caterpillar to cocoon to butterfly is happening too. And there's like the caterpillar disintegrates before it reforms into the butterfly. And that's a very, kind of painful, violent process to
Yeah.
go through. If you think about it, it can be brutal. So that's why it was like, it's helpful if we can just talk about it very candidly, that the dark night of the soul can be a very brutal, painful process to go through. You literally feel like you're dying. But what dying is not dying, it's changing, it's transforming, but whatever reason God made it that way is not easy. But people will have a lot of dark thoughts, a lot of dark repetitive thoughts too, intrusive thoughts. That's very common.
Are we
And your
talking
mind
about,
will lie to you. Yeah.
are we talking about harming ourselves when you say dark thoughts? Can you
Um,
explain a little bit
That
about
that's possible. It can be a whole wide variety of dark thoughts. So everybody's going to be different too, but it could be about yourself. It could be about other people. So I say your mind will be lying to you and telling you like you can't trust the people around you that you actually can trust. So I have seen people make big life changes. And I could tell like they're in the dark night of the soul. So their mind is lying to them, telling them they can't trust certain people, and so they're making big changes and leaving, and like the damage is done after
that?
that, and so it's like it helpful if you have to understand like what's going on with you, and to there's a surrender process that has to happen. But if you know you're in it, that's very helpful, because then you're going to be out of it. You're not going you're going to move out of it. It's very much kind of like being in a trance or a dream or an altered state, which is what everybody goes through when they're triggered. If you're triggered by something, you've moved into an altered state, and your psyche, your mind, your soul is asking for you to pay attention. And the less resistance you have to the process, the faster it will move through you. um, there can be a
Wow.
lot of confusion. There can be a lot of like scary visions, mystical visions, mystical experience as well. Those can be dark and scary, but they may be helpful and beautiful as well too. A lot of people feel like they're going crazy. They feel very disconnected. They feel very, a lot of times they'll feel rejection from God even. It is the ultimate extreme loneliness, disconnection, and isolation. It is the end of the spectrum of loneliness.
Wow.
And um, the flip side of this is
Yeah.
that when you come out of it, you're on the whole and the other end of the spectrum of connectedness and love and beauty and pure light. And you feel just love and beauty for everything once you've moved out of that. And there's this burst of energy that can also happen within your energetic system and spiritual system. And you might feel just shiny and glowing, like there's, like nothing you've ever experienced before, because that energy was being used to keep some of those mental structures in place, or to keep some of those repressed parts in the unconscious mind. And now they've come forward, and that energy is now released in your system for something new, for new creation,
Okay.
right? And so we're very two ends of the spectrum of this experience. That's happening too. This can be a good thing, and I'm going to tell you why, Karen.
but I
because
just think it's hell to get there.
it
You know,
is.
it's
That's why
just
people say it's the phoenix rising from the ashes. You've been through the fire. It's, you've gone into the underworld. Just like a
and
shaman, a shamanic initiation, they go into the underworld. They have to face their fears. It's very symbolic, very spiritual. They have to face their fears, confront their mental demons, so to speak, too. But then what happens is you come out very strong, full of love, full of connection, deep reverence for life and love and humanity. And of course, God is right there waiting for you, and you're in his hands.
and that's a beautiful part. But we don't
Mhm.
even know the time frame because everyone's different of how long they're going to be experiencing that either.
Correct, correct. It could be hours, days, weeks, months. People can have many dark nights of the soul. So a lot of us spiritual folk, we make little jokes about, okay, once you've been through your 30 through 1,150 dark night of the soul, I got this, I survived.
Oh, Jennifer, don't say that. I've had a few, but I don't want to keep
Yeah.
going now.
Nobody does.
I
Nobody
think I'm
does.
done. I
I
do.
I know. Well, I thought that too, and then I'm always surprised when all of a sudden, a little one crops up again, and I'm like, God, what's happening here? Oh my God, I'm feeling some negative thoughts coming. I feel like I'm dying. I feel really disconnected. What's going? Oh no, it's back. Oh no. All right, and then you kind of have to stop what you're doing and just surrender to the process. The biggest relief is going to be surrender because you can't. You can't, if resistance is futile, like they say in Star Trek. You can't control a process that your soul is controlling for you. That it's you're being brought to your knees in humility and humbleness too. Um, but that's why it's a good thing, because when you get to the core base of self, right? Everything that people call ego and personality is kind of like on top of this, and we get very identified with the on top of this, all of the layers, all of
Mhm.
the costumes we wear. Not wrong, but it's who we think we are. When we go back into the core and get to experience the far extremes of disconnection and connection too, we're down here without all of the layers, and we get to reconnect, reintegrate, lessen that veil between personality and soul self, if you will, too. And this gets us farther along in the process of our journey, of our awakening, of our moving forward. So there is big gifts at the end once you make it through.
So, should all people that are spiritual be expecting that this will be happening to them? That they may
Um,
be
every
experiencing?
everybody's an individual, but if you're
Ooh.
going down the spiritual path, you've probably been called by your soul for something different, right?
Mhm.
You felt called for something different. You probably had some tower moments, some big life events that have made you question your reality and your existence, right? Even
Yes.
even what people might call a midlife crisis. They get to a certain age and now their life is changing. Kids are grown and gone to college and thinks, who am I now? Right? Or you've lost a job. Who am I now? Without that identification, anything that makes you question who you are. Is there more to this? Is this all of there is? Because you've been doing the same thing
Oh
for
my
so long.
God.
Like, like that could be a dark night of the soul. You can find yourself in a depression, right? But you have to rediscover you again, or you're also rediscovering parts of you that have just been quiet for a while, that want to come alive. Maybe there's been an artist in you waiting for decades to paint,
Hmm.
right? Or to write, right? And it's like it needs to come out. It's knocking at your door. So sometimes the dark night is a dark night with a K, which I know we're gonna talk about it. And that night is coming for you. It's coming for you to say, hey, there's more. You're not who you think you are. You're in an illusion, and the illusion isn't wrong, but once you know you're in the illusion, then you're actually in this 3D world with awake. You're more lucid in this 3D world, right? And so it's
I
coming
like
for
that.
you and
That's
saying,
cool.
look, and saying, look. So I like to think of it as maybe you have an angel and they cloak themselves and they get themselves all scary looking like the Grim Reaper. And they come and they're like, you need to look inside yourself. Like, hey, look, there's things about you that you're not acknowledging. And some of those things you may not want to acknowledge. They may be things that you're not proud of, or mistakes that you've made, or parts of you think you're, this perfect person, and you don't realize maybe there are parts where you have been a little bit selfish, or you have not always made choices that you would like to, right? And it's not about making anyone feel bad. It's about just acknowledging your humanity, right? And understanding that we are all the light and the dark in this 3D reality. We are all connected to the light and the dark in this 3D reality. But they may also be saying, look, you've got experiences that you haven't dealt with. You've got some fears and some traumas that you're ignoring. You're just keeping busy all of the time. And Mr. Dark Knight is like, look, 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 look. And it will just keep pulling and tugging on you until you say, okay, okay, I surrender,
So are you
you
going
know?
to tell us how to deal with it? Oh my gosh. I mean,
I know. I
I bet
know.
the audience is going, "Oh my God, what am I going to
I know,
do?"
right? Right. But if people are hearing this and they've been through it, they
Yeah.
understand. They're like, "Oh my God, that's me. I'm not going crazy. Oh my gosh, that's
Yes.
me. I'm not going
Which is
crazy." So
nice.
there's a relief. So the first step is just knowing that you're in it. It's like
Okay.
understanding what this is, and that you're changing. Your mental psyche is changing. It's going through a transformation. You're merging through that veil a little bit too. And for me, like I had mine was so intense. I've had many dark nights of the soul, and I had a big Kundalini awakening during COVID, as we've spoken about in the
Yeah.
other show there too. And I finally had that kind of like um, pivotal moment where I realized I wasn't separate, not just knowing intellectually, because we all say you're a spiritual being having a human experience. That's intellectual, but to actually know it, to experience the realization, the self realization that you really are not separate, that we're channeling this reality all the time. And like that's a big shift to go through too.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
um, I still can get very immersed in the 3D and feel very, very Jennifer. And then it's like, oh, my knowing is still in the background. It never goes away, but it can get a little farther away sometimes
You
too.
gotta
But
bring it.
that, yeah, and I used to complain about it. I used to be like, well, that's not fair. But my personality is understanding that my soul didn't come here to be like it was in spirit world all the time. My soul wants to experience life as Jennifer in the 3D, not always knowing what's going to happen and why. Have these
Right.
experiences and like in real time, the real experience, the
Yes.
hero's journey of it too.
Yeah, because that's why you came here. It wasn't,
Exactly.
yeah, for to learn,
Exactly.
to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hmm.
The forgetting the veil isn't a mistake. Sometimes people speak about it that way, and that's okay. But we're all spirit. We're all aspects of the divine, and so that means we wanted it this way.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't know what we're thinking before we come down here. But
Many people have said that, and that's why
yeah.
I sometimes jokingly talk about like the marvelous absurdity of it all. And it's where you look around and you're like, this is so crazy, like what going on, like it can't be real.
Yes.
It can't actually
Yes.
be real
Yes.
because it's too crazy. It's
Hmm.
just too bizarre. And that actually realization can actually be helpful. And then you can kind of like have a little bit of a cosmic laugh at it all,
Yeah.
and it's just
You chose to
to
be here.
yeah, and we made it this
Gotta do
weird.
it.
We really did make it this weird too. So
Oh,
knowing that you're in it and understanding what it is, that knowledge and awareness can be very, very helpful for you too. If you have a support system, that can be very helpful too. I once saw a documentary on a dark night of the soul, and there was a group of ladies that all understood it, And so when one of them was in it, they'd come over and like have a party for her and like bring her a cake and like celebrate with her. So here she is in this dark depression, like, oh my God, I'm in the
Oh,
dark night of the soul. And they're coming over like to support her and celebrate. They're giving her a hand in the dark, to say, hey, like we're with you, you know.
that's really cool.
It's beautiful. Most people don't
Yeah.
really think of it that way, but it is beautiful. So to have a support system like, where you can just call and say like, I'm in it. I'm going dark for a few days, and then and then
Yeah.
and then and then the friend can check on them. How are you doing? How you do, how are you okay? And then you can expect when they come out of it, oh, it's gonna
Yeah.
like that leaf is the most beautiful leaf I've ever seen.
This is
It's
true.
got
You appreciate everything.
you really
Oh
you
my God.
really do. And
Yeah.
that is so beautiful. That part is so beautiful too. Um, and you're not in bad company. Jesus, the 40 days and 40 nights in the desert, that was a dark night of the soul. Like that was a dark night of the soul. Eckhart Tolle talks about his dark night of the soul when he wrote his books, and he realized I can't live with myself. He was very suicidal. I can't live with myself. And he's like, wait a minute, who's I and who's myself? And that's when he began to realize he wasn't a separate me anymore too.
Right.
Saint Teresa de Avila, Amma, these are great notable figures in history that are spiritual or religious, and they have all been through it. It's actually pretty common. It's not that uncommon too. Some people in past history would, um, on purpose, go through these. There's some like tombs and things. What do you call it? Like caves or spiritual sites I've seen that people would purposely go into and like kind of almost like uh, cocoon themselves or coffin themselves in for like 3 days to purposely trigger more awakening within them. So they would like purposely trigger isolationist feelings in them or experiences in them to help them trigger awakening to transcend, because they understood what that was. So we're going all the way back, in the history of mankind, way, way, way back to that too. So it's
No, it kind of makes sense to do that too because you know it's happening. I, I,
exactly.
I could
Hmm.
definitely see doing that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Because
Yeah.
I know I have faced a few dark nights of the soul and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very scary. You think you're going crazy. You think you're going
Mhm.
mad,
Mhm.
and you feel very alone. For
Right.
me, it wasn't until because I started taking my classes, or back in 2016, I started taking classes. I was sitting in the power, meditating a lot, taking a bunch of classes. It was an election year, so there was a lot of energy in the collective. Um,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of big things happening that year too.
Yes.
And all of a sudden I'm like, where are all these like negative thoughts coming? Why am I feeling so bad about myself? Why do I feel like I want to sit in a pool of water just to like go through a purification or a
Mhm.
cleansing? Like I didn't understand what's happening. Like why do I feeling like feelings of like jealousy for this person? I don't normally feel things like that. All these
Yes.
weird things, and then negative thoughts about myself of not being good enough and things like that. And it wasn't until I was in YouTube. I used to listen to music on YouTube before we had like, the apps like Amazon and Pandora and all these things, right?
I
And
love
I just,
YouTube music.
yeah, I used to listen to YouTube music all the time. And then this video on Dark Night of the Soul showed up miraculously, because I
Oh,
wasn't watching videos. I was only listening to music, and had this real scary looking picture on there too. And I'm like, what's that? I was so curious. I had to tap on it, and then this man is talking exactly what was going on in my mind
oh
about
wow.
the dark night of the soul. And that's when I knew, and I began to research, study it, and eventually start like teaching classes and helping people with it as well too, because people just need to know that that what's happening to them. It can be really helpful just to know, like, oh my gosh, that's me. Okay, I'm not going crazy. Like, I'm okay. Right? And you will get through this. You will make it through too. And there's always a gift at the end, I promise you. That's what they call the gold. So it's you're going into the darkness and you're coming to like the pot of gold in there too. And that gold is yourself. It's coming back to
And your
yourself.
growth and everything.
Yes, yes.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How many dark nights have you had?
I have no idea. As many of them. I
Lots
haven't
of them.
counted.
Okay, good.
I've had lots of them. Yeah, and
But I
they
think
don't.
that's good for people to know that you have also experienced those
Oh
too.
yeah. Oh, most definitely, most definitely. And I may have told this story in the other episode, but I'll tell it again just in case I didn't, or in case somebody else hasn't seen it and they just want to know. Is
Yeah.
I was in the dark night of the soul, 2016 or 17, I'm not sure. And this is important. I love telling this story as I've told it many times. Um, and I was doing my life stuff, and then I got home, and then there it came, because like, okay, you're home now. So I'm saying you're very spiritually soul directed. You're home now, and I had to go up into my room and lay in my bed, and I was in a fetal position, and I'm just being bombarded with negative, dark thoughts about
Mm,
myself. You're never going to be good enough. You're not this. You're not that. You're not that. You're not that. You're not that. And by this time, I had been through a few rounds of this. So I was like, I had no resistance to it. I'm just like, fine, just keep it coming. I just surrendered to it. Just keep it coming. Let me have it. Okay.
mhm.
Let me have it. Let me have it. Okay. And I'm listening to it and listening to it and listening to it. And then it just stopped. There's just
Oh, did
silence.
it?
Just stopped. Pure silence. And then I got chills as I say this because the room is full of spirit right now. you know and it completely switched the other way, and I could see like a vision, like, of my life, my whole entire life, and it was the truth. The lies are what I was hearing.
Oh.
The dark thoughts were the lies, they were the illusion,
Oh.
right? The not enoughness at the core. We experience the human condition of not enoughness,
Hmm.
right? And then that's the shadow, the core shadow. And
Hmm.
then the core light is complete connectedness and pure love, and everything else are all the layers and archetypes on top of that. And then we come out into
That
this
is
hello
beautiful.
world, and this is who our personality is, representing our soul.
Mhm.
And I could see in this vision that I was so loving and kind my whole life, and any little mistakes I had made, they didn't matter, they were insignificant. I
Mhm.
had been a loving person and soul my whole life, and I could see my own beauty, and that was the truth. And then step three was I became very aware that each and every body is that too. And that spirit, we have spirit around us all the time. Maybe it's our guides, our angels, our higher self, our loved ones. They only see us in our divine perfection.
Right. They do. Hmm. Hmm.
Precious,
Hmm.
beautiful, perfect.
Hmm.
That's what they see.
Right.
That is the ultimate
That's
truth.
beautiful. Hmm.
Precious, absolutely precious, like diamonds. We're all like shining diamonds. And everything else here is the 3D world that we came to experience and to forget and remember. And that is a beautiful thing. And boy, did I feel shiny for a couple weeks after that. And people would be like,
I like
Jennifer, you're glowing. What is that? What happened to
it.
you? You're glowing. I literally was glowing.
Went through a dark night.
I really liked that part. I thought, oh, thank you.
Yeah. Coming out of it was nice. Yeah.
Coming out of it was wonderful.
Mhm.
There is a lady, let me see if I can remember her name. I believe it's, uh, I think it's Immaculate. And I don't remember her last name. I should have researched this. I meant to. But she survived the genocide in Rwanda many years ago. I like telling this story too. And her whole tribe, her whole people were basically massacred. And she was one of the few survivors. And she and about six or seven other women, different ages, including, I think, a teenager, were taken in by a priest of the opposite side and hidden in a bathroom. And this happened to be the only house that had two bathrooms. And so most people didn't know about the second bathroom. And
Oh.
so they were hidden, and it was a very small bathroom, which,
Mhm.
six, seven women all had to share for about 3 months. right? And we're talking, you can't flush the toilet, because you don't want to be discovered. You can't flush the toilet unless you hear the other toilets being flushed at the same time, like little scraps of food, things like that, right? And
Oh,
the other
Lord.
tribe came in looking for them and almost found them twice, right? It was
Oh,
scary. And she
oh God.
knew that her whole family was being killed out there, violently, brutally. And
That
she
is
went through
horrible.
a dark night of the soul while she was in that bathroom with these other women. And she experienced rage and hatred and darkness and despair, the deepest of the darkest emotions in that too. And for her experience was kind of looking and realizing then she had a choice of who she wanted to become. Did she want to become hate or did she want to become love? And that's when she had that switch. And so she came out of her confinement into a world where everybody was gone that she loved, and the people that she had grown up with, the other tribe, right, that she had grown up with, they were responsible for killing her friends and her family, like neighbors, friends,
Oh,
teachers, right? But when she came out, all she could see, she was so happy to be alive, and she was fully connected to the beauty of life. And she
mhm.
even went to the prison of one of the murderers and forgave him. And the guard was livid. I remember watching this documentary. It was like The Power of the Heart or something. The guard was livid because he gave her a metal pole to hit him with. He's like,
Oh,
here,
and
you
they
know.
didn't like
She
that.
didn't do it. She said, I forgive you, because she had made that full transformation of self too. And it's a sad story, but it's also a beautiful story. And so what I would like to offer to us all in this, if she could forgive
Yeah, that's
that,
huge.
we
Yes.
can too.
Yeah, I mean, that's
We
huge.
can too. If she
Yeah.
can choose love, we can too. The power of love is stronger than anything. It's
It
not
is.
sissy thinking. It's not, you
No,
know,
it's
it's not,
not.
you
It's
know,
not.
I may have rose-colored glasses and my name is Jennifer Rose, and I may wear my heart on my sleeve, and I may have a childlike innocence, but I understand what the power
Oh
of
my
love
gosh,
is.
Jennifer, I
Is
get
deep,
chills over
powerful.
here.
Yeah, because spirit's with us. I know.
Oh,
I
oh,
know.
I'm freezing.
Yeah.
Um, I want to digress for just a second when you were
Yes.
watching that documentary,
Yeah.
and she saw someone who took the lives of maybe one or more family members and forgave him. How did they show how that person reacted when they were
Um,
forgiven?
they kind of did it like as a dramatization, so it would have been an actor that was playing the part. So they didn't really show like his experience afterwards. I don't remember that. I'm sure he was shocked out of his mind.
Yes, he
I'm
would have
sure he
reacted.
was shocked because I
Yes.
don't know how someone would be able to find forgiveness in themselves after committing, so many murders. But that is where the power of grace and God comes into all of this too, because no one is left behind. No one, no matter how bad they've ever been, is left behind or
I know.
unforgiven.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
You're right. You know,
yeah,
I'm thinking about somebody that I know that
yeah,
has not forgiven someone who can't say it on air, but is pretty bad for
yeah,
years. Took the life of some of a family member.
yeah.
Do you have like suggestions or a class or something that would help this person?
Um, for her, that would be a very intricate matter, very personal for her. I would hope she's getting grief counseling to help her with the grief, to help her move through the grief of that loss, because that's significant too.
Well, she
I,
has,
I,
she still has
yeah,
not. Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes there's things that are just hard to let go, and like maybe that's okay too, and not to push her farther than she's able to move.
Oh,
Um, and
okay.
I
Yeah.
like to remind, in my work, you've will have often heard me say through the years, there is a light in everybody. I'm one of those people who sees the good in people, even if they've done dark, hurtful things. And
Right. You're
so I
like,
try to say, can we love the soul of that person instead of the personality of that person, right?
yes.
Um, and but that I also understand that hurts leave wounds and scars, and we can't put a timetable on that too. But I hope that she would be getting continual help for her grief with that loss. Um, there's a movie called The Shack, which might be helpful
Yes.
for her to watch too, where the dad has to forgive a man who's, brutally murdered his daughter in a very unspeakable way. I mean, he has a mystical experience with Jesus and the Holy Spirit, the spirit of judgment, and God, him herself. And when he goes into the cave to meet, I'm sorry, I keep calling it judgment, but it's wisdom. He goes to meet wisdom in the cave, and she shows him, you know, um, his dad, but also his dad as a child being abused, who became his abusive father, and then showing like, where do you draw the line of judgment, because it will keep going back. So somebody who did a hurtful thing was probably abused when they were younger, or they've got something very wrong with their brain and their mental health, right? And it's not about making excuses that they're not accountable for their actions. It's about having understanding too.
Right.
So
Perfectly said.
right.
Perfectly said. Yeah.
And from a broader perspective, if you look at this reality as a stage, as Shakespeare would say, this is a stage and we're all actors upon it, there's going to be villains. There's going to be villains on the stage. And there's going to be victims and heroes and saviors and sages and fools, all of these archetypal patterns. So sometimes learning about archetypes could be helpful as well, too. But for your friend, um, it's she's identifying with what's happened, and that's why she's having a hard time letting it go or finding any kind of forgiveness or letting go. But who
And
am
it's
I to?
30 years.
Yeah, who am I to tell her when she has to stop grieving or when she has to forgive? It's
No.
just hard. In the end, she will. She'll make it to spirit world and all will be forgiven and understood.
Yeah.
What I've said in readings and demonstrations, when spirit comes in to give an apology and take accountability for their actions to somebody who's receiving a message, I will say often, like, you don't have to forgive them all at once, but maybe 5%. Just start with 5%. And I love it when I'm in a group setting, doing a public demonstration, because then everyone can hear it. Because spirituality says, forgive, 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 forgive. And it's like, somebody might not be ready yet. And we're telling
Yes.
them to basically shove their feelings, to shove parts of themselves that
Right.
need to be
Shut it
heard and
down.
understood. And it's like, that's the dark side of forgiveness. We want to bring the light side, the gentle side of forgiveness. Can we do it a little bit at a time? That might be doable, bite-sized chunks for people, right? That might be doable as well. Doing things to remember the person that she has lost too. So it's not going to be one size fit all for her or anybody else.
I just thought of
Yeah.
something because when we talked before
Mhm.
about the dark night of the soul, and
Yeah.
it really hit me personally. And there were two people in my life that I was still holding on anger for, and they're both
Yeah.
deceased. And Jennifer, because of you, I was able to truly forgive them. I did. I forgave them. It was incredible. And
Yeah.
I never thought I would. I thought I'd go to my dying day without forgiveness, and I have.
I'm so
And
happy. Yeah.
me too. And now I talk to them. When I talk to my heavenly team, I include them in there. And so thank you.
You're
And
welcome.
and then there's someone on earth that I needed to forgive. And there was always a trigger thing. When I would think about it, I would get immersed in that, and I don't get triggered anymore either. So
I'm
I'm
so
forgiving
happy.
that person. And you did that.
I'm so happy. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
honored to be a part of that too. And
I had your food. Yeah.
one
So
thing I
thank
just thought of with your friend, which might be a little hit from spirit too, is that she may have a part of her that feels like if she forgives, then she's not respecting the person that was murdered, or and
Yes.
so in her
Yes.
mind,
Yes.
like in her mind she might be making it like that means it's okay, or that means I don't care, or that means that makes
Oh,
sense, because that's like why a lot of times we have a hard time letting go of grief, because we feel like we're supposed to be in grief, or we're not, or we're a bad person and we don't care about the person that we've lost, even though the people that we've lost would like us to go, make the best of the life that we have left here. They want us to keep living, right? But we feel like we might be a bad person if we let go of our grief too and keep moving forward in life
that's
too,
it,
right?
Jennifer.
So
That's it.
she may need to give herself permission and know that it doesn't mean she doesn't love the person that she lost. She still
Right.
loves the person that she lost too. What I know as a medium is, up in spirit world, everything gets forgiven.
Yes.
It
Yes.
just does. There can be soul contracts is another thing some people may want to research, that sometimes souls may volunteer to play a part while we're here too,
Freezer.
and past life regressions and hypnosis have demonstrated that for people. I do like to be careful with some of these spiritual principles, because if people aren't ready to hear them, it's just gaslighting their grief, and I don't want to
Yeah,
do
we
that
don't want to
either.
do that. No.
But if they are in a space where that information is helpful to them, then that's a good thing that will help them to keep moving forward. You know?
That's spot on. I think that was
Yeah,
spirit. Yeah.
yeah,
Whoa.
yeah,
Gosh, I
yeah,
learned so much.
yeah. Ooh, I got full body chills.
I know.
She
I'm
may want
freezing.
to, I know, I just got the chills, so that's spirit
Oh
too.
my
And so
gosh.
your friend may need to have a little ceremony or something very a sacred little ceremony where she's talking, and she's like, I'm talking to the person she's lost, or talking to God or spirit, whatever, or her angels, and just say, it doesn't mean I don't love you, and it doesn't mean I don't honor what happened to you. I'm just choosing to let go of this anger right now, so that I can I can help live a better life, including for you who I've lost.
Gosh,
For
this is,
you, you
yeah,
know?
this is it exactly.
Yeah.
Whew.
Forgiveness can be a beautiful gift of grace too. But when you're identified, like this is who I am, and now the energy is just solid in resentment. To let go of it means, who am I without my resentment?
Right. And I'm dishonoring the person that
Right.
was hurt.
That's an identity crisis that could put
Yeah.
her in a dark night of the soul.
Hmm.
Right. Who am I without my resentment?
Exactly. Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk and I'm gonna say I really want you to watch this video because I cannot say it as well as you can. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Oh, okay, Jennifer.
We got deep on this one too. I
Oh
know
my
we
God.
got really deep.
Oh my
So
Lord,
I
Jennifer.
I hope we've helped at least one person. I think we have. I think we've probably helped many
I think we have
on
two.
this one, and it's an honor to do so. I'm very grateful that you've allowed me to be part of your podcast and have a few sessions with you. And thank you for trusting me, because you're trusting me with your community, your people, and that's very meaningful for me. So I'm very grateful for that. So
Well, you
thank you.
know how I feel about you, and I love having you on the channel. And I like that you wear rose-colored glasses too, and see the best in everyone.
I do, I do, I do. There's so much beauty in this world, and someone's got to be the balance to all the negativity out there too. And not that the negativity is wrong, but it has its place. But
Yeah,
it's like there's hope, there's beauty, there's love. It's out there, it's everywhere. Miracles are out
right.
there everywhere. Just being able to live and breathe and have a heartbeat is a miracle, right? And these are the gifts of the most difficult experiences that we've had, is to realize how precious life is. And to even you've taught me, Karen, like I had a gathering with some family members a few weeks ago. And after hearing you, I remembered, hit the record button. Don't just take
Oh
pictures,
my
but
God.
hit the record button. So I wish I had remembered it a little sooner, but so I would have that memory, with me and
Mhm.
be able to keep it, and it's I'm already good at taking a lot of pictures, but like hit the record button more to get people's voices to remember
Oh
those
my
special
gosh.
moments, those special
Yes,
occasions.
it is.
Life is being precious, precious.
Mhm. It is.
You know,
It's very
we
precious.
don't know how long we have here. Nothing is
Mhm.
promised to us. And this
No.
is this is our vulnerability, our open-hearted vulnerability, and I was just speaking about the ocean last night when I was on my other program with my friend Nancy, who you've interviewed as well. And it's like that ocean is the boss, right? But we are all part of it. We learn to be one with it and ride with it,
Yes.
but have immense respect for it as well, and humility too, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh gosh.
Thank
Is
you
there
for letting me philosophize with you.
Oh, I love it. Is there any other thing that we missed that you want to say before we sign off?
Um, I would just offer to people that be
Mm,
gentle with yourself and tender and kind to yourself and to others. This is a process. It takes as long as it takes, and there's no rush in any of this, too. And it's the more you kind of let go of the resistance to life, and then the smoother life may become for you as well too. So I've been through a lot, um, maybe more than other people will go through in my journey and my awakening process too. It has not been easy, and I almost died myself while I was in my Kundalini awakening, as I've spoken of before, and it was very scary for me to go through, but I've come out wanting to live. And just like you've spoken of, Karen, with your experience, because you had multiple losses of family members, including your beloved, but it made you want to live. So sometimes dying makes you want to live. And a lot of people say that,
mhm,
and so what I would offer to people is live, live,
mhm, mhm.
choose to live, not just
And it's
exist, but
not
live,
exist. And
live.
I think it's good that you have shared that, life hasn't always been a bed of roses for you either, and let the people see that vulnerability and that you have come and conquered too.
Thank
You've had
you.
many, many dark nights of the soul.
The phoenix will always keep rising from the ashes, no matter how many times, And
Yeah.
I had a mentor. I'll make it super quick because I know we're coming to the end. But I had a mentor named Mary, and she talked about the samurai sword and how they would keep putting it in the fire to purify the
Oh,
metal. I think it's the
God.
samurai sword, right? And they would
Yeah.
put it in the fire like 1,000 times to keep purifying the metal, so it was like the strongest it could
Whew.
be. So if there, your dog is validating that one.
Right.
and and
Laying
so
in bed.
we're all becoming mighty strong through our phoenix rising from the ashes,
Mhm.
experience too.
And we are
But
stronger than we think.
oh,
Mhm.
but there's so much beauty in this world, and there's so much
Yeah.
beauty in love, and I choose to stay open-hearted through it all, like
Yeah.
you, like you.
And being vulnerable and open like that is good.
It is authenticity in its finest.
Authenticity, yes.
It
Okay.
is
Jennifer,
authenticity.
always a pure pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on.
I love you,
And
Karen. Thank you.
oh God, I love you too.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.